Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a closer look at your favorite semiconductor company, Intel, and my favorite semiconductor company, Nvidia. In the past week, Intel has released new data center solutions that I believe are important for Intel investors to understand. But more importantly, there is kind of a data center team up happening with Intel and Nvidia, and I want to discuss that a little bit more in today's episode. So let's get started.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
For those that are not familiar, the data center is a huge market for the semiconductor industry right now. If we take a closer look here in quarter 3, Intel had $15.3 billion in revenue. Out of that $15.3 billion, $4.2 billion came from the data center market. So over 25% of total revenue is coming from this space. Yesterday I did a video on Nvidia and a little bit more about their data center market. So if you want to check that out, make sure to click the link above after this video is done. So we can see, right, data center market is a huge industry for semiconductor solutions. Unfortunately, for a company like Intel, we do see that this is a market that is down year over year in their most recent earnings, right, for quarter 3. We should be expecting quarter 4 in the upcoming weeks. But one of the main reasons is competition, right? Competition is definitely heavily in this space. To kind of combat competition, Intel on January 10th released their next generation of CPU processors, which are the 4th gen Xeon scalable processors. Within there, they also delivered other products, the Max series CPUs, which are again kind of server processors, but mainly meant for a niche market, and this is high performance computing because they do have kind of more advanced memory and memory communication, which helps with certain workloads in high performance computation, and they did release their data center GPUs. So I do want to say, in forms of performance, they do mention that this is a huge leap compared to their previous generation. That's to be expected, right? For numerous reasons, it's better in analytics, networking, security, storage, and high performance computing. Another thing that's happening right now in the data center market, and a huge topic, is sustainability. The amount of electric and the amount of power consumptions that these huge data center and clouding farms are using are insane. So we are seeing a lot of these kind of data center solutions start to hit more of energy efficient as well. And Intel does mention that, hey, the sustainability that are provided through our processors have increased dramatically. Again, with overall performance boost in other markets. Here we can see that they mention in general purpose computing, they see about 53% gain. In artificial intelligence, they see up to 10 times gain. In networking, up to 2x. In data analytics, up to 3x. And this is compared to to some of their previous generation processors. So overall, this is what you expect to see, right? The huge improvements in performance compared to previous generations. I want to say at the moment, nothing here is truly a game changer, right? There's nothing that, in my opinion, really wows anybody. I do believe what these new kind of processors can do is at least slow down the bleeding. Right, revenue in quarter 3 was down 27% year over year. I do expect for quarter 4, maybe we might expect to see revenue decrease at least, but I do expect maybe quarter over quarter decreases to not be as significant, or there might be even a small bump up in the data center market. So again, I want to say this new processors, nothing crazy, is more like a way to stop the bleeding or to control the bleeding to some extent. They are definitely kind of competitive because we are going to see, right, that there is a big semiconductor company that has decided to team up with Intel, and that is Nvidia. But before we take a closer look at this partnership, make sure to hit the thumbs up, as it does help me grow my overall audience. If you want to support a little bit more, make sure to subscribe using my link at fool.com/Jose. Finally, if you are here, it means you're a semiconductor investor. And I have a weekly podcast where it's an hour-long podcast every week with another host, and we discuss numerous topics hitting the semiconductor market. The previous episode that was released last week is doing amazing, so thank you all for the support. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. It should be in the pinned comment, or you can also click on the link above here. So next I want to talk about Nvidia, right? And in this kind of Nvidia and Intel partnership. And we see on January 10th of 2023, the same day that Intel released their new processors, Nvidia released their new DGX systems. So these DGX systems are overall kind of mini supercomputers to kind of help with accelerated computing. And this is pretty interesting. So this is their spec sheet of the DGX H100. It uses 8 Nvidia H100 GPUs. And look at this. It uses dual 4th generation Xeon scalable processors. So this is pretty interesting because a generation ago for their A100, Nvidia was using AMD's server CPUs. So this is interesting because why would Nvidia change in this market? And unfortunately, at the moment, we don't really have a true answer. I want to say maybe if we wait a few more weeks, we might start to see more benchmarks. But in my opinion, there's only 2 reasons Nvidia would change from AMD to Intel. First reason being a financial gain. Intel is definitely the kind of dominant player in the data center market. They have more volume production. For example, in AWS, there's more Intel AWS systems. In some way or another, Intel definitely has the volume beat here against AMD. So if there's more volume in Intel side, then it means that Nvidia would get more money if more products are being sold. So that's the first reason that, in my opinion, Nvidia would shift to Intel. The second reason is Nvidia sees maybe something in the performance side that us as regular consumers might not be able to see. So is the Intel new processor a lot better than AMD's new processors? So that's, in my opinion, something we don't have an answer to. Here we can get maybe some answers that there are probably some performance reasons. They do mention among the features of the new 4th Gen Xeon CPU is support for PCIe Gen 5, which can double the transfer rates from CPU to NVIDIA GPUs and networking. So and again, a little bit more about memory bandwidth increase. So we can see there are definitely some performance boosts with teaming up with the 4th Gen Intel Xeon CPUs. The real question is how different would it have been if they had partnered with AMD? So this is not a complete loss for AMD, right? This is more of just pre-built systems. If you are kind of a CPU or a data center engineer and you're building and customizing your own data centers, you can go to websites like this, which is ThinkMate, and build your own H100 system using either Intel CPUs or AMD CPUs, right? So not completely bad news for AMD because those are just pre-built systems. The non-pre-built systems you can customize using any CPU. So again, now the market is which is more likely? Are pre-built systems more likely to sell, or is this a market where there's more customizable customizable data centers being built? We do know that, hey, Intel has a huge volume boost here, and they did mention numerous players are backing them up and kind of selling their servers pre-built already, and those pre-built servers are most likely also going to be using NVIDIA GPUs. I do want to say that things are starting to change one way or another for Intel at a very slow pace, but we are seeing small things here and there. Hey, they released their 4th generation Xeon. Hey, a company like NVIDIA is kind of choosing their products for their pre-built systems. Hey, they are also kind of releasing accelerator systems as well, and they're focusing things like GPUs nowadays. There's still, I want to say, some not red flags, but some negativity happening with Intel, where how well is their kind of push to manufacturing gonna do? How well is the margins going to be in the consumer market if they start to regain market there? How strong are these data center solutions going to be around compared to the overall competition? Are they gonna stop the bleeding? So even though I want to say these are some green flags for Intel that we mentioned today, there's still a nice amount of yellow, orange, or red flags for this company. So I don't know if this is a game changer for the overall stock, and I definitely wouldn't go out there and rush purchasing Intel stock. I am not a shareholder, but I do want to say things are getting a little bit better for this company, and I'm definitely going to keep a closer eye on things.